Where's my overlay? There it is.
Boom.
Yay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Reverse the Verse. It is Friday, March 5th, 2016. It's March already.
I know.
Oh, man.
Yes, I know.
Okay, I'm your community manager, Jared Huckabee. With me, as always, is our Director of Community Engagement, Online Strategy, and Spaceships, Mr. Ben Lesnick, our Subscription Manager, Alexis Lesnick, and our Video Editor, Mr. Justin Chambers. How you doing, guys?
Good. Great.
We survived another week.
Yes.
This was a long week.
It was a long week.
Weren't we just saying that earlier?
We were just saying that.
We've been saying it was a long week since Monday. It's like we knew this was going to be a long week, and it ended up being a very long week.
That is true.
So if you're just joining us for the first time, Reverse the Verse is the Cloud Imperium Games community team's weekly semi-informal live stream with the fan. We're a little more formal than we were before, but
still pretty darn informal.
Still pretty darn informal. I mean, don't let the graphics and everything fool you. We're still going to go off the rails a couple times here. There's no stopping it. We got to be us.
Yes.
So
don't be fooled by the graphics that we got.
Yes.
We're
still. Wait, who are we from the block though?
The community.
We're community from. Don't know. So yes. If you enjoyed that $11 million intro, you can watch it on replay and see the text underneath. People, even these guys were like, "Oh my God, those paragraphs are going by so fast." Oh, we went dark. Who turned out the lights? All right, we're back. So yes, So lights are back. So Ben, every week we start with our week in review. This was quite a week. We've got a lot to cover.
Well, obviously we should talk about 2.2 first because that exists.
Yes, 2.2 went live last night. At, what was it, like 10 o'clock, 9:30?
Yeah.
It wasn't as late as, we still had some hours left in the day. But yeah, it was a great relief to have that out.
So yeah, this was a really, really exciting week for for development in that sense. We had been trying to push 2.22 live, I think starting Monday. Monday was the 29th, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
So we had a window on the 29th. We I think pretty much every night this week, we've stayed up, we've pushed out a patch as late as possible to PTU, and then we've had like a go, no go at like 10:30 or 11 our time each night, which has been a lot of fun, and it's really, really cool seeing Chris Roberts just so engaged, because it was him and Paul, Sean Tracy, were just shoving things into the game, trying to get things. We have a bunch of bugs that we've been working with all over the week, and every night it came down to let's try another cycle. Let's try and fix this one, and we finally got it good enough to go live.
Yes, Chris was working on those zone transitions quite a lot. He was in chat. He was like, "There's 5 bugs. There's 5 zone transition bugs," and you'd watch him go, "I got one," and then a couple hours later, "We got 2. This is Chris Roberts in our chat link. We got another bug and whatnot." So it was. Also, we need to do a huge shout out to the QA teams. Around the world.
Oh, yeah.
We say that we were up late. We were up late, but we were
as hard
like
as they
monitoring.
were.
Yeah, we were monitoring. We were writing the posts and monitoring and stuff. These guys were busting their butts, around the clock, doing the handoffs from Austin to LA to Manchester and whatnot. And not just the QA guys, but the programmers who had to fix the things that QA was documenting. So I mean, just a tremendous effort this week from the guys. So
I think maybe the other way.
Thomas is adjusting our microphones
Your mic is being
mid-broadcast.
removed,
Do that. No, we've got these fancy new mic stands.
Blocking your free face.
Oh, they were blocking your free face. See, I got a fancy different one with a wire and stuff because I got to go over the laptop here. I also noticed a different laptop.
Oh, is it a different laptop?
Yes, it's a different laptop.
What happened to this? What happened to the
It's
other one?
smaller, and it's completely solid state, no moving parts, so it's less noise over the microphone.
Oh, wow.
So constantly trying to improve, everybody. So 2.2 out.
2.2 is out. Hope everybody's enjoying it. You saw yesterday we had to delay ATV a little bit.
ATV is out.
Yes, ATV is out.
ATV is out.
Live.
Yeah, we actually did cut 2 different versions of ATV. One where we talk about 2.2 and everything that's out, and the other where we say it's coming soon.
Yeah. Which we do every week that we think a patch is out.
We do, but this time it just... We talked to Chris and we felt like it was so close that we would rather have ATV there forever talking about 2.2 and giving people information they would need about it than not. So we waited until the evening. We are sorry for.
Well, this is
anybody that
after
frustrated.
this was after the immense technical trouble we had.
Yes, it was a good
Yes.
week for that because we had monstrous technical problems with the renders.
So at one point the episode was so late because of the technical issues. Then we ended up being so close to live. It was like, well, we've waited this long. Let's push it a little longer. And
then there were 5 more hours of that to do new builds.
I wasn't quite 5, but
But I think we did a good job of getting it out.
Yeah.
yes. Fantastic look at Pedro. If you've never seen a Pedro interview before, the man is a character. I love Pedro dearly, and he has plenty to talk about.
I love Pedro too. He's always. I think everybody who knows him gets this, but he's always like, "You must come in summer with me in my villa on the
I
Tuscan
know.
plain."
We talk about that in the show.
He actually was one of the first people who reached out to me when I first started working here, but I thought he was a fan, and he was just like, oh, and he was just talking so highly of me, and I was like, I told Tom, I was like, this guy Pedro, he's like sending me messages, like, do we know him?
He's
And
so
like-
nice. He's so
he's
nice.
like, he's the composer. I'm like, oh my gosh, this whole time I thought he was like some
he's-
crazy fan.
So talented too.
Yes,
Yeah.
he's such a terrific ambassador for Star Citizen that if he weren't already such a great composer, I'd try to get him here on the team because he's a fantastic ambassador for Star Citizen. And we thank him for taking the time to chat with me for an hour on a Saturday to record that. So thank you, Pedro. And if you haven't checked it out, check it out because there's also a snippet of the new Arena Commander theme fully orchestrated
Yes.
in the episode. I was able to squeeze like almost 10 seconds out. So
And Pedro, come to America.
Pedro, come to America. No, actually, he lives on an amazing island.
Oh, he does. I
Pedro,
saw
we'll
those
come to your
pictures.
island.
We'll come to you.
We'll come to your island, Pedro.
Yes.
Madeira Island. So, what else in our weekend review?
Gosh, there was so much this week.
We did some shooting on the documentary.
Last night we had a whole fancy documentary. So we're doing the Star Citizen makeup documentary. It was a stretch goal, either a stretch goal or an initial promise. I think it was a stretch goal.
It's a stretch goal.
Stretch goal. So we had a small crew come in. We rented a fancy lens. Hennessy brought his
Black
nice
Magic.
camera, Black Magic camera.
Yeah.
And they said Hennessy organized this whole thing. It was fantastic. They had a whole video village outside Chris's office. Sandy and I got to sit there with headphones listening to everything Chris said and interrupt him whenever we wanted to say something different. It was fun. It was nice because we were here late last night doing that and also waiting for the patch.
Yeah.
Yep. No, it was quite an evening. A good end to the week, I think. What did you do this week, Alexis?
I had some management training.
Oh, we both had
Ooh.
management training.
Yeah.
Who runs
Different
the world?
management training.
Yeah.
But, it was,
I guess I mostly focused on merchandise stuff this week. Sandy and I have been working to get some new stuff organized, so that
Yeah.
was most of the week. And then some stuff for events like Gamescom, that sort of thing.
And the Bar Citizen?
Yes, Bar Citizens for Concierge are tonight. I believe Frankfurt and the UK are already going on right now. And Austin and Santa Monica are later tonight at 6 o'clock.
We're going. Which one are we going to?
I don't know. We're gonna hop on a flight to Austin. No, we'll
That'll be
be
fun.
we'll be in Santa Monica if anyone out there is attending.
Oh, great.
So, yeah, come see us tonight if you're in the Santa Monica area and you've already RSVP'd. If you haven't already
How many
RSVP'd,
people have RSVP'd?
a lot,
Yeah.
a lot.
Oh my
There were a
god.
lot.
It's going to be a party.
Yes, yeah. There was a lot. So.
Yeah.
So that's our weekend review. We have some special guests coming later for our Talking Ship component, so we're going to move right into Where's My Spaceship? Where's My Spaceship is our lightning round where we're going to talk about the current state of several of our ships that aren't out just yet. Last week we covered many ships. We're going to cover the remainder that we didn't cover last week. Again, a lightning round. So Ben,
all right.
master of ships, where's my Endeavor?
Endeavor is much further down in the schedule, so not in active development right now.
All right. How about that Javelin?
Javelin is actually being put together by folks in the UK right now. So that is, I should stress, it's being put together for Squadron 42. We're not going to see the Javelin in Arena Commander tomorrow, but it is getting its putting
Putting
Words,
the parts of the ship.
Putting,
the ship.
So our commissary is closed today, so there's been no energy drinks and no caffeine for anyone.
Yeah.
We are a little bit dead.
Yeah, they're dressing up our commissary to look very pretty. We'll show you when it's done, for sure. But it's really hard to get to our energy drinks today.
True.
So,
So that's good news. We got the patch out already because that would that would grind the team to a halt.
Yeah.
No, the Javelin is it has folks on it right now over in the UK.
Okay. How about that Hull series?
Hull series, no, it's more further down the line. We'll hit the Hull A first and then build up from there, but it's so scheduled, but not today.
Okay. And Reclaimer, folks like that salvage.
Maybe the same story for all these.
Yeah,
scheduled, but not.
There's a reason I avoided them last time, because they all have the same
Probably
answer.
what we should do in this segment is tell people what ships are in development right now.
We did that last week, though. Just could do the same thing every week.
I mean, yeah, because ships don't change every week. But I mean, we can say I can talk about some of the changes. We had an artist who is moving. If the folks who were working on the Jean Scout have moved on to the Herald, which is a good thing. Meanwhile, tech folks are working on the Jean Scout, getting a flyable right now. What else? Reliant is getting hangarified. The Bengal, a bunch of people moved over to the Bengal because we need it for some scenes in Squadron. We just got the concepts in for our small mining ship. I can't say much more about it. This is one of the ones that you'll see it in the vault someday. It will look nothing like what came out today, but I liked it. Chris Roberts had more changes than I did.
Is this the first time we've mentioned the small mining ship publicly?
I think we mentioned it before.
I don't think we have.
I've seen threads about it, so we must have mentioned it. I'm sure I've said it on. I've talked about it on that.
Let's see what chat says.
What else?
Yep, they're freaking out. Small mining ship. Yeah, that's what I thought. What else, Ben? So, yeah, there's
Argopods. We've got a guy in the UK building Argopods because you'll be able to configure the Argo for different missions, and they're working on the variants, I guess.
Any progress on the Dragonfly?
Dragonfly is with our tech designers here in LA. I think actually maybe the sign off was this week, so we'll go to a concept artist to do the initial renders and such.
And because everybody's going to get angry if I don't ask, how about that Polaris?
Say that's actually says it's with design here in LA, and then it will go to a concept artist. I don't know that we have someone picked out. I think it was Nathan in the UK wanted the Dragonfly, so we're actually breaking up the tradition for Drake. Normally we're doing the design here, and then he's going to design it, but I'm not sure if we have somebody for the Polaris yet. I know we'd love to get Ryan Church, but that's not a promise because he's
very busy.
Very busy.
And we're talking about these new ships, the Polaris and the Dragonfly and that small mining ship. We're not skipping the Prowler. We're not stopping Prowler development.
Prowler is what we call in the parlance of game development blocked right now because we're still working on the Tavaran race stuff.
Okay. All right. Well, now's the time when our special guests are supposed to be walking into the studio right now.
Oh, I'm here already.
Okay, do you want to go grab our special guest, please?
Okay, that would help if I knew both of their names. But
Go find Kirk Tomei.
got it.
Go grab the others.
We're gonna have some of our designers here to talk about the new component system with 2.2 in
Yes.
just a moment.
They were supposed to be here 2 minutes ago.
Meanwhile, let's plug some other people's games. Star Traders on Kickstarter. If you're a fan of David Ladyman and Ryan Archer, their Kickstarter's going really well, and they're just straight good people. So if you're interested in that kind of board game, please check it out. No Man's Sky is available for pre-order now, and it looks really, really, really cool.
I saw that collector's box they have.
Yes, I was all ready to pre-order just like a regular person, and then Clifford, AKVQ, tweeted at me a picture of the collector's box with a metal ship. It looks just like the ship in Space Rogue, an Origin game from 1989. Because that's how I make all my references. But it's so cool. I had to get the collector's edition last night.
Is leave it to Clifford to show us the most expensive option and say, buy this one. And then we fall for it. Thanks, Clifford.
And third, the Humble Bundle this week is it's Star Wars themed, but it includes the entire X-Wing series on Steam, X-Wing TIE Fighter, X-Wing versus TIE Fighter, and X-Wing Alliance. You can get all four for like $5, and it goes to charity. That is fantastic. Normally I would say go buy Star Citizen stuff, but buy other people's games this week. There's some great stuff out there.
Gotcha. Where's Kirk?
He said he's on a call.
Oh, he's on a call? All right, well, guys, take your seats. All right, Hennis, let's go ahead and move on to talking ship components. He was ahead of me. Good job. So joining us now, our special guests, Calix Renault and Matthew Sherman. You can see the monitor, guys, so squeeze in if you can. There you go.
Hi, Ben.
Hello.
Hi, guys. Oh, there we go.
Hey. We actually look further apart on the screen
Yeah.
than we do.
Yeah.
Well, the
That's
camera adds
camera
10 inches.
This is really quite
heard
personal.
that.
Really quite personal.
Yeah.
So
Pretty soon, Thomas will just film it all in fisheye lens.
we're reconfiguring, guys. So Calix and Matt, you guys are designers here on the Star Citizen team. In case there's always new people every week. They've
Yep.
never seen you before.
Yep.
And you guys have been working on our new ship component system, which went in with 2.2 last night.
Yep, the first step of it went in. We rolled out the groundwork for our updated power plants and coolers. So we're moving away from ships having just one power plant on them to being a series of linked and additive components. So most of the ships now, you'll have 2 or 3 power plants installed. Pretty much every ship has a pair of coolers on it. So it's setting the groundwork for the new system where we can build out a ton of components in the future.
We'll soon start to have that applied to shields. It's already groundwork laid out to have it so that we can have an array of shield generators as well, which is important because otherwise you just get the one shield.
Yeah.
So let's start at the beginning here. We just introduced coolers and power plants this week. I know that may be self-explanatory, but what's a cooler? What's a power plant? And how do they affect our gameplay?
Power plants make power.
Yep.
Every second they make a certain amount of power according to how healthy they are. You can throttle that to affect your signature, but they're pretty simple components.
Yeah.
Coolers take the heat that are in the ship system and disperse it. They generate a certain amount of signature as well. To do so, they use power to do it, but basically you just have the heat and power resource on your ship moving through the pool system, and power plants contribute to it, and coolers pull the heat away.
Yep. Yeah. And I mean, everything, the reason we also went with the power plants and the coolers first is pretty much every ship in every ship system uses those to some extent. Everything is either drawing power or generating heat as it operates.
So you get as close to the table as you can, Kirk.
Yeah.
Let's scoot as close to the table as you can. There you go. Hi, Kirk.
Please continue. Hello.
Yep.
Yeah, we're squeezing in a whole. We're like a clown car show here today.
Oh yeah.
So with the power plants and stuff, why wouldn't somebody just want to use the most powerful power plant all the time?
You'll glow like the sun. Once we get, one of the nice things with this is it starts letting us build out, bigger EM signature and IR signature ranges. So as those start to grow, then we can start doing some more fine tuning eventually with our missile tracking to actually make those where, okay, if your EM is off the chart, well, that chaff may not help you as much as you thought it would. If your IR is just glowing red hot, that the flares aren't going to be creating as much of a disparate signature as you'd want to avoid an incoming missile.
Right, and figuring out the not only the benefits but the consequences for getting better or different equipment is going to be something that we're being working on, because the simply getting a better piece of equipment doesn't mean it's across the board better. We need to figure out how to balance things like becoming a bigger target for the ships.
Yep.
It will generate more heat, therefore you will have to compensate by getting coolers that can cool the ship more effectively, and other properties like that.
Yeah.
Well, another thing is that it's more risky to have, because the higher power plants, the more power going through the system, when things go really wrong, when things explode, you're going to have a far worse problem on your hands if you were using a larger power plant than if you had something smaller.
And why wouldn't somebody want to use the cooler that cools the most all the time?
Similar reasons, really. Just on the opposite side of the spectrum, where the power plants are dealing with EM and coolers are dealing with IR. It's sort of a balance between emissions, safety, cost, weight, all these things. Like there's also, you might be able to disperse a ton of heat, but you're possibly drawing more power to do so.
Right.
Yeah.
These things don't necessarily scale 1-to-1. So
And since you are cooling better, you are generating more heat by the component.
Yeah, and so the cooler, I think just for a live in-game example on this would be, I want to say it's the Aurora CL. It has more industrial tuned components, so it's going to have higher baseline power output and a bit more cooling efficiency to it. But in the same regards, they do have much higher signature multipliers. So you get that benefit, but it's at that cost of, well, if you're a cargo ship, you aren't really caring as much about having a big ER or IM signature. You're caring more about, I want to move this cargo from point A to point B. And so it's sort of that trade-off you make.
Also, there's like damage to consider when you're in battle. Repairing that component that is more costly, larger, more beneficial, requires more resources. If it actually gets destroyed, having spare parts for repairing that component will come at a greater cost.
Gotcha. And so that's 2.2, but coming soon we're talking shields now. So why don't you tell us, what do we do to shields now in the meantime, and where are shields going?
So shields with 2.2, one of the things that we did to just sort of let's get a better baseline when we get the bigger component refactor in is we've actually locked in the shields on ships. So the shields that every ship comes with inside of its family are going to be restricted to those ships for 2.2. And a big part of that is just so that when we do roll out the new system, we can really start fresh with the much more detailed and updated, damage formulas that we've been working out over the past few months.
Why don't you talk about how that system's actually going to roll out?
Oh yeah, so the biggest thing that you'll be seeing when we get the updated shields out there is the smaller generators. They'll fragment out into a few other parts like the power plants and the coolers. But now you're going to have pool-based shielding so that everything becomes additive. Everything, your overall performance will be more an average of the sum of your parts. So how much damage of each type you're absorbing, how much you're mitigating, is going to be a lot more driven based on the updated components.
And the specific rollout plan for that is?
So for that, we're targeting 2.3. Some of it will be based on when we get some of the final tech implemented and all tested out, so we're happy with it. But then along with that is the replacement of the existing shield generators that we've sold on the store. With the 2.2 patch notes, we had the conversion matrix. So if you currently own one of the Seal Corp Inc. or Seal Corp Inc. Mark or Splash shields, definitely check out the patch notes or the patch post so you can see how many of the new Seal Corp web shields you'll be getting once these new components roll out.
What else you got to tell us about shields?
Some of their behavior is being updated. We're looking at having basically you scale like for instance ballistic penetration. You would have a certain amount of ballistic penetration when the shield is at 100% health versus when it's at 0, and it will scale between the two. So if you've brought the shields down a fair ways, you'll be significantly more effective with your ballistics. And so there's, the curve on that makes it so that you probably want to have mixed loadouts. We're changing it so that the regen delay only happens when you hit 0. Mm-hmm. So if you hit 0, you get like a big reprieve of like, now is your chance to really push, because they have some number of seconds before they even begin to recharge. And the recharge itself is switching to be basically also on a curve. So you're recharging at all times, and when you take damage, it resets your regen rate, which then recovers over time. And it doesn't actually reset it to 0. It chips away at it towards 0. So what this means is that conceivably, the smallest weapon in the game could eventually overtake the strongest shield in the game. But
it will take forever.
It will take forever, but it also means that those small weapons still have a place in a massive cap ship game, mm-hmm. because if we're dealing with something hundreds of thousands of shield points, and you're doing a 20 damage per shot, that still matters, even though the regen rate's clearly going to overtake that, because you're interrupting the regen rate. And so if you have large ships doing like the real meat of the damage, if there isn't support ships, a lot of that damage, a lot of that health just comes back, because at those larger scales, your rate of fire is reduced. You just have less incoming hits. So there is a reason to have the jabs from your small support ships.
Probably the biggest change that's going to occur is that each of the ships is going to have their own shield emitter, and the shield emitter will derive the stats for the shield that it generates from the shield generators. So faces are going to be locked to each ship. If it's a four-face shield ship, it'll always have 4 faces. However, things like the overall health, the rate at which health recovers, things like shield hardening, in which you choose the priority of a particular face, which means it gets more majority or a bigger percentage of the overall shield health shunted to that particular face, and how fast it recovers, the absorption factor, the what's the other
Waste ratio.
Right. So those stats are going to be derived from the shield generators that you can install and then upgrade on the ship. So therefore, upgrading your shield is done by acquiring better shield generators. So if I get if I have 3 shield generators, and I get one that is much better at generating shield resource to repair the shields faster, I've upgraded the way that the shield works. If I get one that is much better than at the face hardening aspect of shields, getting one improves that aspect. Getting all 3 and upgrading that, it improves it dramatically.
The thing about the shield hardening is that that's a specifically a feature for multi-crew. With shield hardening, we have it so that we can balance our shields so that if you don't ever touch shield management, you get basically the performance that it says on the tin. If you are constantly moving your shield health towards incoming fire, then the result of that is that you're increasing the amount of health and improving the percentage of health in that system, and so that improves the hardening against incoming damage. And so the way that the numbers work out with some of our early tests is that you could potentially be multiplying your total capacity for damage by a factor of as much as 5 to 10. So it's really powerful having somebody not in just a supporting ship, but actually on your ship managing your shields.
Right, that's exciting because it makes shield management a real thing.
Yeah.
So doing things like shunting power, figuring out which phase is going to be the priority, turning off shield generators if you need to conserve power, or regenerate the shield health at a faster rate at the detriment of turning shields off for a limited amount of time. These are real things that we can achieve with the system.
A lot of it's coming out of it also pretty systemically, which I'm pretty happy with. Like he mentions that if you turn off a shield face, it regens faster, and the reason it regens faster is because it's still drawing the same amount of shield power or the shield resource, but it's no longer using it for that maintenance cost of actually having it up, which means that you can drop your shields to bring your shields up faster, accepting whatever window of damage you have, or if you can get behind a rock real quick, drop your shields, they charge up faster, and now you have the benefit of all that hardening back. It's a pretty nice interlocking system.
You're going to see crews bragging about their shield game.
Oh yeah.
This crew's shield game is tough.
Yeah.
What's your shield game like?
This also
Shields are hard.
this also does things like actually allow us to do more realistic damage simulations. So if you do damage one of the many shield generators you have on the ship, it has a real consequences to the overall performance of the shield. Destroying one completely has a very dramatic consequence. But these are things that you can see and are going to be tangible.
Yeah.
And this is what we hope to have the beginnings of in 2.3.
Yeah. We're really targeting to try and get a lot of the groundwork for just the core function of a lot of the things that we've been talking about. So some of the like nuanced ability for players to be actively configuring these things on the fly, that will sort of layer on once we've gotten the core formulas and back end of it implemented. But it's absolutely something that we're pushing for because, I mean, like Calyx was mentioning with multi-crew ships, we don't want the engineering station to just be something you think, I'm going to just assign an NPC crew member to this all the time. Right. It's going to be, we want it to be something where, no, this is the most badass shield managing engineer in the galaxy because he can take a 100,000 health shield system and get 400,000 health out of it in a single fight.
I'm going to call it right now. My dad's going to end up being a shield engineer on somebody's ship. The whole time you're talking, I'm like, oh my, geez, my dad's going to go crazy about that. That's just what he wants.
And then having like internally accessible items is something that we're also trying to achieve, so that there is that excitement of shield generators, A's down, engineer, go run down the hall, repair
Pop
that
the panel.
component, or grab a replacement component from the cargo hold and pop a new one in, because otherwise we're dead meat in the middle of battle.
Exactly.
All right, guys. Well, it's 11:35. We're about to move into our question and answer period. I know many of you are very busy. You got follow-up work for 2-2 and laying the ground for 2-3. So if any of you want to stay, you're absolutely welcome to. If you need to leave, I understand.
I can probably stay for a minute.
I'm done.
I'll stay.
I was looking.
Calyx
That's
for
why
a
I
few
was looking
minutes.
at Kirk when I said this, because I know he was like, I can only stay for so long, Jared. I gotta go.
Yep.
So thank you so much, Kirk. We love you, Kirk.
It's true.
So now we're moving into our question and answer period of the show.
Tech design is led by Mr. Miyagi.
Yes. To ask us a question, please preface your question with the word "question" in big, bold letters, surrounded by parentheses. We forgot to say this last week, but if you noticed last week, we took all of our questions from the RSI chat. That is how we're going to continue to do this for some time. We want to make sure that we are getting the questions from our backers, the folks who support the game and whatnot. So if you are looking to ask us a question in RTV, you're going to want to jump into that RSI chat right now and post your questions there. Because just like we did last week, that's where we're taking our questions.
Our ship is taking damage right now.
Yes, right now. Hold on, we got to do the Star Trek thing. Oh, he stopped moving the camera.
No.
Make the camera more.
All right. So, I just hit my mic. So, first question from Ed Harrington. Hi, Ed. Any news on whether we will be given the material kits the art uses to build stuff for player housing? Probably not anytime soon. Player housing isn't in the original design spec.
Well, maybe we can get the hangars. For the ships.
We are at some point, once we get persistence, we're going to eventually have the ability to start customizing our hangar, move things around. So. Okay. What can you tell us about future component types? Asks Red Hermit.
So a lot of the components that we'll be rolling out, there's most ships sort of have a placeholder for them right now, and it'll just be a similar thing to what we're doing with shields, where taking something that we've had a somewhat functional but more simplified version of and just expanding out over it. So fleshing out radar, making that a more compelling set of choices with what the component does, fleshing out avionics, getting life support to matter so you can't just meat wagon your constellation. Just slowly taking all those things that we have the stubbed in foundation for, and really fleshing it out, making it nuanced, and just making it something compelling for people to interact with.
Gravity generators, avionics.
Gravity generators.
We probably will be dealing with the more specialist components on a case-by-case basis until there becomes a strategy for unifying all of that. But things like mining equipment is probably going to be we build it for the ship.
Yeah, it'd be more specialized for some of the role-specific functionality.
Somebody asked, I'm going to stop this here so I can actually see the name here. Stop auto-scrolling, there you go. Somebody asked, will the Dragonfly be able to use a jump drive?
So the Dragonfly is still in the middle of its concept design. We are exploring the notion of it being the first snub that could have quantum, but that would be at the trade-off of it will never be able to land on its own to like a planet's surface and do orbital takeoff like the other snubs will have. In terms of going into jump, I don't want to like fully commit yes or no one way or the other. It's something that we'll definitely look at, but we definitely want it to be something that you could do quantum on, if nothing else.
Gotcha. That was Moonstruck who asked that question. James Hobbs asks, are there any plans for buying components in the mini PU store, like to actually earn USC for missions and use that to buy components?
Working towards it, but it's not going to happen immediately.
Yeah. I mean, it's absolutely part of, just the long term where, yeah, we want you to go check all these parts out at a store and be like, I want that one, I want this one.
There's a reason that the folks in Austin who are working on shopping right now are focusing on the clothes and the decorative items, because you can get that system in and working, and then we can apply it to stuff that really matters, like components, rather than having some awkward back and forth where we're...
Clothing matters.
Yeah.
That's being able to customize a character is something that's at the top of a lot of people's lists.
Yeah.
So it's an important step to being a living, breathing universe to not have everybody wearing the same thing.
I just want to leave a conspicuous clothesline out of.
Well, let's get you some pants. And
Yes.
I will pick up a F-22.
Yeah.
And we'll see who wins the dogfight.
No, you have to see who wins the boat race.
Let's see. Armored Citizen asks, what's the future of ship speed? The folks have noticed that speeds have changed a bit with 2.2.
Speeds have changed a bit. There's a lot of sort of a holistic refactor lens going on with the ship speeds of looking through all of our ships and re-examining them with we've nailed down a bit better our metrics for determining how we think ships should be performing versus how they are performing, and how we want to move them around. And these are sort of the first pushes into that. Like SCM and afterburner speeds and cruise speeds, those are all sort of in flux at the moment as we push them around towards a better balance for Crusader. Like that's really, previous to now, all of our balance has been with the lens towards Arena Commander. That's been the way to tell how our ships worked. And while that's still valid, it's no longer the whole picture. And so basically everything is getting reviewed and updated to fit better into a universe economy.
Okay. I'm going to ask this one because I know you're working on it. I'm curious if you remember. Boldheart wants to know, how long is the Caterpillar right now?
It has changed.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I don't know the number offhand.
It's awesome.
But that's also because it's like right now I'm working on floor plan stuff with it and doing interior white box implementation. And I'm actually really excited about this ship. I actually wasn't too keen on it before, and now that I've spent some time working on it, I'm really happy with it. And the like seeing that floor plan actually come out, and you're walking through the space and having the doors functionally opening and having all these things moving around, and it's actually really quite exciting. But that means that the dimensions are slightly altered, and I won't actually know the full scope of that change until we get the second art pass on it after this.
All I heard was Calyx hates the Caterpillar.
Caterpillar.
It's huge. It's awesome.
Folks are asking.
I no longer hate the Caterpillar.
Oh, I love the Caterpillar.
I've had a change of heart.
I love the Caterpillar. Folks are asking if I'm wearing pants. Thank you, Ben.
He's not.
Not at all.
Please send pants.
I would describe what he's got going on there as a skirt.
It's a combat kill.
Dear Diary, today Ben looked at my crotch and said I would describe what he's got going on down there.
It's the belt dress from that little house. It's quite fetching.
Let's see.
You hating on my cord?
Are we going to have different engine components? Asks Lunar.
As in thruster engine components, I imagine. that's. I mean, yeah, you're meant to be able to upgrade your engines. That's actually part of what we're looking at in terms of the, again, the universe economy of like what is it like to alter these things in the baby PU, and yeah, we're looking to, I think, simplify and unify those systems so that we can get some of the benefits that we're now starting to see in coolers and power plants and soon to be shields applied to engines as well. So ideally.
Yep.
I forgot what I missed who said it, so sorry I don't have your name. Somebody asked if cockpit views will be getting better. It's a common assumption that everybody has their favorite ship, and everybody wants their favorite ship to have the best possible field of view. Why don't we give every ship?
Some cockpit views will be changing. Probably not any of the ones you're thinking of, because we actually do design these cockpit experiences to be as open or limited as I mean, generally we don't want every ship to feel the same. First of all, you want it to fly different. You want it to have different strengths and weaknesses. The Freelancer cockpit is fundamentally different than the Merlin cockpit or the Mustang cockpit. And really the driving force to improving or altering these things is bringing in the improvements to HUD and screen MFD interactions, and making it so that when you sit down in front of this bulky thing, that bulky thing is doing something. It's a part of gameplay, and maybe you aren't seeing space, but you're not seeing static art either. Yeah, that's I think where a lot of the issues with some of the current cockpits sort of would fade away, is when the thing that's blocking your view is actually doing a thing other than just being pretty art.
Hey Ben, can we expect 2.3 this month or in April, because 2.2 dipped into March?
To be determined, really. The goal is to try to get a patch every month. We will sometimes slip, sometimes we won't, and we'll see how it shapes up. I imagine we'll know a lot more in about 2 or 3 weeks, but
I imagine we'll know a lot more in 4 weeks.
Yes, in all weeks.
We'll definitely have the answer in 5 weeks.
Hopefully, that comes around to the next March.
Yeah, it's we've gotten the patch to PTU every month on schedule. It's always important. It's always impossible to fully estimate how long a PTU period each patch will need, though, because it's dependent on the available testers and the available resources to fix things. And
I mean, there's two essential criticisms, one of which is totally invalid and the other one which is true. So Star Citizen is a scam, we're stealing everyone's money, blah 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 blah. No, we're delivering something every month, and you can see it. That's what really matters to us from a public perspective. We want to show you what we're doing. The second criticism is this game has all sorts of delays and so on, and after that it was Ace Chris Roberts' game. It will never be quite on time, but we will always try.
I was hoping you wouldn't tell us which of those criticisms was valid.
Yeah.
All right, Dr. Gordon O'Dare. Like the name, Doctor. Right now, crashing and ramming are major issues. Then there's a word I don't know. Will we get shields so that we can repel and be protected from that?
I don't have
bumper shields.
I don't have a good answer to that. I do have. That's simply not something that I've worked on directly.
Yeah, and like a lot of the shield work right now has just been the active like damage caused by weapons. It hasn't been as much on ramming and collision stuff. That'd most likely, I'd say, be a down the road kind of thing where it'd be something to explore later, but.
Yeah, I'd like to have
features
that allow you to address this, and we've talked about some of them, but they're not the next thing up on the plate, so I don't know exactly their status or how it's going to come out.
Gotcha. Have we determined whether the Buccaneer will have cargo or not, and are we ready to share that?
No, we are not ready to share that.
Sorry, Kraken.
I
tried.
as I had mentioned, when we set that reference image thread, the description on the Buccaneer is being left intentionally vague for the moment. We do have a plan in place. We have a good idea on where we want to take this ship, and it was very much being left open-ended with as little information as possible on like the concrete specs of the ship, just so that people didn't feel they were innately constricted on what they could submit as their own personal inspiration for a reference image. So, and that thread has definitely been going really well. Really happy with how that's been turning out. I think it's just short of 20 pages right now. Probably be making an update in there when it hits 20, but great stuff so far.
Deep Six wants to know, how will component repair work for non-multi-crew ships?
In the same way as they work for multi-crew ships. I mean,
Do you have to get out?
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
components have a physical location on your ship. You can access them to whatever degree you can access them, which is true on multi-crew ships as well.
Yep.
And when you have full access to them, you open up a panel and you repair them directly with your tool, your little welder tool that allows you to. Thank you. And then you can also do the subcomponent replacement. So you pop open the panel to the component, then you pop open the panel on the component, then you have the stuff inside, and you fiddle with that until it was working better.
Yep.
And I really want to get percussive maintenance in, but I don't know exactly how that's gonna.
Hit it till it works.
Right.
Part of the grabby hand system.
Yeah.
Everything is part of the grabby hand system.
The Weaponer wants to know how the updated ship components will work with the Vandal, Glaive, and Scythe.
So right now, the updated component system is mainly for like the UEE make and human or made by human type flyable ships. So it won't be sprawling out as much to like the Glaive or the Scythe. Those are going to be more bespoke for what the Vandal make. They're not really on friendly terms, so they don't play with the same size standards.
Gaius wants to know, what's the difference between engines and thrusters?
Engines generate thrust. Thrusters point it in a direction.
Sounds reasonable.
Yep.
By the way, again, if I'm not reading your questions, it's because I already know these aren't the guys who have the answers to that, guys. So that's not anything personal. We all love the fan cave. Are there plans for other sets? Yes. Soon.
I think we
Ish.
have 3 sets of walls like this, and we'll be decorating the other 2 in different ways.
Working on it. All right, talking about Ethnic asks, talking about questions, Matt said that for now each ship type will have all the same shields. Does that mean that the Gladiator now has the same shield as the Hornet, or the Vanguard has the same shield as the Saber?
No. That means all the Avengers will have the same shield on them. The Constellation has its shield set for it, so the Gladiator has its own shield set up fixed to that ship right now. So there are still going to be differences between the ships. It just won't be, you won't be able to move the shield components around between the ships.
Yeah, the main reason for this has to do with the changing numbers and how quickly and easily this can break the system when we don't have 100% of the components tuned up yet. If you'd like any examples of this, go ahead and look at the Vanguard in PTU.
Yeah, I mean, things... I've said a few times, it's very much, we are spinning plates as we get a lot of these components set up, and no one wants to clean up a bunch of broken plates, so we are focusing on the spinning.
Maybe you're spinning plates. I'm shooting skeet.
Well, you're sweeping up the porcelain.
Okay. We get this question quite often. Draxus wants to know, are there any more ship commercials in the works?
Not immediately. Our cinematics guys are all working on Squadron right now. We have people who kind of learned on those ship commercials, so now they're doing amazing things on Squadron. Once we are finished with Squadron 42, or we're finished with cinematics in Squadron 42, we'll have some more assets we can do things like the Retaliator commercial with, which was a stretch goal. But for now, no big ship commercials.
Okay.
But we were also at a point with when we started doing the ship commercials, there wasn't a game that you could actually go and see the ships in. Now, we like to think that Alpha 2 is our is a ship commercial. It's been a long week.
It has been a long week. Tokachu 101 says, any plans for the Saber being rentable? Yes.
Yes, we should go and fix that.
Actually, it may be fixed right now.
Okay.
That was on the list for Turbulent to do this morning. So when we're done here, we'll go check, and if it's not, we'll get it up there. But the Saber will be rentable now that it is flyable. Got time for one or two more before we wrap up. Let's see.
Let's see the post stuff.
You want to run the computer? I'm running the computer.
No, I don't want
You want to run the computer?
I just want to critique over your
Oh,
shoulder.
look, it's all the same questions. Please tell us something about this week's ATV sneak peek. This week's ATV sneak peek was.
It was the Reliant interface, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
So,
Looks very good.
The HUD pre-visualization, Zane did awesome work on that.
Now a previs. This is a previs. It's not something that's enabled in game. It's kind of like another word we use is look dep. It's them. It's them finding different ways and finally figuring out what look
How it
they
should
want
work.
before they have to actually build it in the game. So the MISC UIs all tend to use 3D holograms. I think that's the direction we've been going with that.
Yeah.
So you can expect similar looking HUDs on all MISC ships eventually at some point. Starfarer, Freelancer, and the like.
And actually, sort of looping back to the earlier question about viewing angles, one of the big things that helped to prompt that was, we wanted the Reliant, especially of any of the other MISC ships, to have just unprecedented viewing angle. Like, it has the biggest open cockpit. We removed a bunch of struts from some of the initial concept art on it to make sure that you just have this great, clean look. And so now the HUD helps with that, so you don't have anything really in front of your face. It's all like cleanly tucked up to the top.
Akaro wants to know, any chance shopping makes it into 2.3 or 2.4?
there's a chance, but we can't promise any features for a specific patch yet. Imagine a bunch of cakes baking simultaneously, and there's a specific time. And when you hit that time, you take all the ones that are done baking out, and the rest are still. I'm bad with analogies today, also.
That is not how baking.
Or analogies.
I do want cake now.
All right, that pretty much wraps up our question and answer period. Matt Kalix, thanks so much for stopping by, taking the time to discuss ship components with us. You can hang out for the next 4 minutes if you want, or you can GTFO if you want.
I'm gonna
You
go.
can hang. All right, bye guys. Nice. And now we've moved on, as the screen says, to our looking ahead. We're going to talk a little bit about what's coming up for Star Citizen.
Return with your shield system or upon it.
So in our immediate future, we've got a 10 for the chairman coming on Monday, all things willing.
When our even more immediate future, we've got the monthly report coming later today, which was another thing we did this week.
Yes. I like the monthly reports. It's a nice, concise collection of most of the things we've been doing every
I don't know if it's concise, but it is.
Well, I
nice
think compared
record.
to everything that we do, that is a very, it's concise by virtue of comparing it to the sheer magnitude of stuff that gets done every month.
Technically, it is concise because
Sound like Tom Hennessy now. Shaking his head. I'd love to make Tom Hennessy shake his head.
we love Tom Hanks.
We do. Unfortunately. It'd be easier if we didn't.
Also, next week we've got subscriber flare.
We do.
Yeah,
Do we want to tell them what it is yet?
we did already. It's Space Plan.
Space Planet.
Not the same space planet as the everyone already got. It's a different space
Yeah,
planet.
there's a stretch goal space plan and there's a subscriber reward space plan. So
And if all things work out, you'll see a segment with Behavior, the makers of our space plants and all of our subscriber flare next week on ATV.
Space botanist.
What else we got coming up? We've got our Bar Citizen tonight. For those of you in the Santa Monica area.
CR is headed back to the UK next week to handle some Squadron stuff, so we will miss him.
Do we know how long he's going to be there?
2 weeks, maybe? It's in the out report.
Yes.
But everybody. Oh, we're also working on 221. It sounds like they're looking at the hot issues. They're going to do some fixes for those in the next couple days. So look for a pure bug fixing patch at some point. Improve stability a little bit. I know everybody's eager to tackle the desync issue that's been popping up.
Yes.
So
221 and general follow-ups, collecting feedback from 2.2, and then the very beginnings.
QA has already done the feedback. I got the feedback report this morning. I don't know where they find the energy, because they were covering this thing way into the early morning, and we already have their 60-page document about what people think of it.
Oh my goodness.
I love our QA team. And then the beginnings of work on 2.3, the very beginnings.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's sort of not that way, because there are things that will go into 2.3 that have had people on them for 6 months now, and so there's.
Imagine a conveyor of cakes, and the cakes are going by.
Each of the cakes has a number on it.
Each of the cakes has a number on it, and when the time comes, all right, we're going to put 2.3 together, we just grab the cakes that are ready and in front of us at that time.
So much baking analogies.
It's a lot like lunch.
None of
Because we
them
can't
are
have
making one.
carbs, so there's cakes in our heads.
Cakes are in your head.
All right.
I've got a crowdsourcing request for folks out there. Everyone knows, because I won't shut up about it, that I've been archiving Chris's Wing Commander material, and we're going to be done scanning stuff probably tomorrow. There's a couple binders left, and then I'm done with that March. But I want to move on to these tapes. I have a couple hundred of these DLT3 and DLT4 tapes that contain all the 3D models, all the effects shots from the Wing Commander movie, and I would very much like to restore these, stick them on Dropbox, and give them to Chris so he can remake the movie someday. But I have absolutely no idea how you read these tapes. This is a DLT3, and there's DLT4s.
Yeah.
And we're just, if anybody out there has experience with kind of previous century data storage, I'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, I've got a drive that'll read them, but we don't have a computer with the interface for it.
Yeah, because
Serial cables.
you look up the drive and there's all sorts of SCSI things, but
Yeah.
I don't think there's a SCSI.
I think we have a computer with a
capable
SCSI
computer here.
card.
So
Yeah,
any advice would be great.
Also, if you watched Around the Verse this week, stick around till after the credits. You will see the single greatest performance of Sandy Gardner's life, because she was not performing. Ben went on and on about Wing Commander, and those are the most genuine reactions
Ben,
I've ever
did
seen
you
from a
get to
human.
see it?
Yeah, it was funny.
It came together so well.
And check out the official announcements forum. We are collecting Big Benny's footage. Not ready to tell you what it's for yet, but we want footage of Big Benny everywhere in Crusader. If you can find a way to get him into ArcCorp, do it. But we need footage of Big Benny everywhere he's not supposed to be, and you'll find out what that's for in a couple weeks, hopefully. So, collecting footage for that.
What else? So if you'd like to pick one of those coolers, they're permanent to the Voyager Direct store. We've got the Saber and the Jean Scout on limited sale this next week. If you are one of those people who had just a base package and was offered a 300i discount upgrade, that goes through Monday. So get out there and upgrade to the extreme luxury of an Origin spacecraft.
The extreme luxury of an Origin spacecraft. And I think that about does it. You got anything to add? No?
Good.
Her stuff's covered. She's like, I got all my stuff covered.
I don't have that much to cover.
So thanks for watching, guys. It's been Reverse the Verse. I'm Jared. That's Ben. That's Alexis. That's Justin. The man behind the camera is Thomas Hennessy. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week, guys.